Hey everybody! Welcome to Flash on Target.
I forgot that we start right away.
Yeah. We don't have the intro.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yes. So
This episode was called "Crazy for You."
It's true.
You know, you could do with an 8 for
Yes.
the A, and you could do a 4, and then you could do a big U.
So I'm just gonna be upfront and honest with you. Oh, first, this is Flash on Target. You can find us online at stayontargetpodcast.com. We also do Arrow on Target and regular Stay on Target podcast.
So
Thursday
yes, and check out the Arrow on Target episode
Yes.
that we just put up. And if you watched the Arrow, definitely check that out because
It's very good.
it's an amazing episode.
This episode is gonna be a lot shorter. Why, John?
Because it had less in it,
And-
less awesomeness.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be completely honest.
Okay.
And
What if you just just blew my mind with something right now?
oh, that would be wild. I did not really like this episode that much. It was largely inconsequential to the rest of the series.
There were elements that I loved about it.
Oh man, elements I really love.
And then there were elements that I really didn't care about. And then whenever
Yeah.
it came down to it, it advanced the plot that I find less compelling that they have going on.
Yeah.
Which is the hunt for Ronnie Raymond.
Oh my gosh.
So this is weird because I love Caitlyn's character. Caitlyn's character is amazing. Like, she is just super cool. She's utilized incredibly well. She
Yeah.
is portrayed in such a way that's just super fun and super
Yeah.
compelling. Like, every scene with her is just golden in my mind.
Yeah.
But, like, this side of the story, like, it's just not that compelling. I don't really care about Ronnie Raymond.
No, I don't. And this is the problem I think with her character, though. You know, we have a lot of character development in terms of Star Labs employees with Harrison and Cisco. Cisco, just because, like, okay, you see this kind of internal struggle between, like, things that he has to do and, like, his relationship. You saw, like, last week we saw just his working relationship with Harrison whenever he came on board with Harvey and all that kind of stuff. Caitlyn, was it Harley?
Hartley.
Hartley, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlyn has been defined and is still defined by her relationship with Ronnie.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
And that's it.
And that's something that this show is doing very poorly right now, in my mind. There's one thing specifically that I could point out, and it's like, get this where it needs to be, is where they have both Caitlyn and Iris.
Mm-hmm.
The only two female characters to speak of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like the where they have them at right now, it's very strange, like, and it's very poorly handled in my mind. And I don't know, it's like, I hope it gets better. And like I said, I love Caitlyn's character.
Yeah.
I really, really do. There's so many things that they do well with her character, and I'll go through some of those later on. But you're right, they've done this misstep where they've tied her just inexplicably to Ronnie.
So here's my question.
And Ronnie's just not compelling to me.
He's not compelling.
That hunt for the Firestorm is not really, you know.
Here's another. I guess it's a problem with the way that they're kind of trying to write these characters, but like, I honestly want to see Barry and Caitlyn end up together.
Yeah.
But they've got these like other relationships that you're supposed to root for Barry and Iris and Caitlyn and Ronnie, and I don't want to.
Sort of. Yeah, I mean, it's like, but they've also been resistant to that. Like, you're right. It's like there's this tug of war, and the side that, like, should be tugging back is just not tugging back at all. It's like, I don't really, you want them to end up together because they're so awesome together, because they've got this awesome chemistry, because she knows his secret, because all of these things. But I don't know if they're going to go that way. Yeah. It's frustrating.
It was funny seeing, like, seeing him, like, take her home and have to, like, put her into bed and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was cool. Like, you want to see them together.
Oh yeah, and that's whenever her character shines. Is like these great moments where she's not tied to Ronnie, where there's not this baggage, and there's not this like some sort of a sciencey task that they've put her on or whatever.
I mean,
it's the friendship. It's the it's that side of things. Like it's her as a person. It's who you are away from your work.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like she was talking to those. It was interesting. They were talking to each other. They're like, neither of us have lives.
Yeah.
And it's the moments whenever they actually have lives. Whenever she actually has a life.
Right.
That you love, like whenever she's joking around with Cisco, or like
Right.
whenever, you know, all of these things, you know, or whenever she gives like a condescending look to something. Even this episode, whenever she named the person,
Yeah.
and she was like, you know, I can do that too, you
Right.
know, and so it's like those moments are great,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate her character for this. I just hope that they fix this whole like Ronnie Raymond situation.
Yeah. The like there's a I don't know when it was earlier in the season, but there's something that I remember whenever they were kind of out at whatever that test track is where they do kind of the experiments, and
Yeah.
there was something, Barry was doing something and he was probably going to get hurt or something. She was afraid he was going to get hurt, and she was genuinely scared and afraid he was going to hurt himself. And like those are the times whenever, like you said, those genuine emotions
Yeah.
that have to do with their friendship that come across where she shines.
Yeah. And they do that so well. I just wish that they would, in the main plot lines or whatever, that they would let these characters stand on their own 2 feet.
Yeah.
You know, they would let them do their thing.
Yeah.
You know.
The other side of the episode that I think really worked was all the stuff involving Barry's father,
Yes.
Henry,
Yeah.
and just their whole relationship is really cool. I mean, honestly, this is the thing. I think we've talked about this before. People who have relationships with Barry, good relationships, like not it doesn't have to be like that they're on good terms, but just
Right.
a well-developed relationship
Yep.
with Barry. They're the ones that actually you feel like they matter,
Yeah.
and it makes for a good show.
And it's that human element.
it's you know, Caitlin and Henry and Joe, you know, and it's really cool seeing them utilize that.
Yeah.
I loved the conversation that his dad had with him, basically calling him out on being the Flash.
That was so good, dude.
Yeah.
So good. And you know, it was also interesting, like, before that, where basically Joe orchestrated this meetup
Yeah.
inside the prison, and that was super well done, because you know what was happening before that, because like he looks at Joe and he's like nods at him and he's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he walks away, and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is a heartbreaking situation that these 3 people, that all this family is in,
Yeah.
because all of them know he's innocent.
Right.
You know, it's Joe knows he's innocent, and now he's trying to help.
Right.
And that was a really touching conversation as well that he had with Barry, because whenever Barry was like, "You can't help, no, don't help me," and he's like,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna help you,"
Right.
and that was just a really nice moment between a father and a son, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
where he's just like, "No, listen, if you know, I can do this, and just let me do it,"
Yeah.
you know, and he's like, "Okay."
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, and so the human element of the show reigns supreme in this episode especially.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a lot of the mysteries that are going on, we made no traction on the whole Harrison is the Reverse Flash thing.
Yeah.
We didn't really see Eddie at all, so there was nothing going on with that.
Right.
I don't know.
There was one thing with Iris, you know, like she's now turned into kind of a Peter Parker kind of like reporter, I guess. She's just gonna like take pictures of the Flash and publish them.
Yeah, and that was the other side of the episode, and the other side of what they've got going on. I think we referenced it last week, so we won't like retread a bunch of that. But it's really dumb what they've mitigated her character to this small corner of like, you know, she needs help with everything.
Yeah.
That they've basically created her and said, you know, you can't, you know, you're not even, she's not even writing her own stories anymore. Like
Right.
he basically gave her this story, and it's just like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Normal people, like whenever you come down to the wire, you write the story.
Right.
You know, it's like it just happens. So I don't know. It's like her character is mishandled more so than almost anybody in the
Oh
show.
yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
and it's like, and because it's mishandled, you don't care about her and Barry, and that's, you know, that's part of
Do
the
we
problem.
even really care about the main storyline? I mean, I don't. Like, you know, the villain was largely forgettable. I don't even remember their names.
I don't remember their names either, but I loved the power.
Yeah, the power's cool.
The superpower was super cool. It
But-
was amazing, and I liked the way that storyline ended up. Like where we've referenced this before, and it may be a problem with the overall of the show, but it's like that there are no good guy people who end up with powers.
Right.
Firestorm may be one, maybe, we don't know. But then she
Find out next week.
Yeah, we'll find out next week. She like basically it wasn't a bad guy. Like
Right.
she was just tied up with these criminals and things, and so by default, because she was breaking him out of prison and all this stuff, she ends up a bad guy. And so it's
Right.
like it was nice to see somebody who wasn't just inherently mean.
Well, we had
or
one.
whatever.
Who was that killed the
Oh.
army guy?
What was her name? I can't remember her name,
but
but
she
she ended
died.
up blowing up.
Exactly. So I mean, we have one who's good, and then she dies.
Yeah. And now this person is good, and she's just, we locked her up, but I honestly think that if we hadn't locked her up, she probably wouldn't have done a ton of
That's the other
evil.
thing too. Couldn't she get out?
Well, they put the mirror, because she needs to be able to see
Oh,
where
that's-
she's going
that's
to
true.
teleport, and
Yeah.
so she couldn't see through the glass, and so, yeah.
That's
so, like,
true.
it was nice. It made sense, but honestly, like, it's if they let her out, I really don't see her being an evil person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uncontrollable, yes.
Yeah.
Evil, no.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if a big jailbreak ever happens. Maybe she...
I hope that does happen eventually.
I totally will. We
Yeah.
keep referencing the fact that it's like they can't get out and we're not letting anyone out again.
Right.
So it's totally going to happen.
Yeah. I still want to know how they get food. Just go down there taking trays to
There's
everybody.
a chute system. It's like at the
Oh,
bank. Whenever
okay.
you go and you push the button and...
Yeah. Maybe it's one of those food synthesizers like in Star Trek.
Or like pizza in a can. Just...
That's disgusting. It's like a pizza shake.
or like you open it and you pull the pizza out. It's just rolled up
Gross.
inside.
That's disgusting.
That was actually a reference to VGHS.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
That's really funny.
What did you think of Gorilla Grodd?
Oh my gosh. I'm super excited.
What are they gonna do? I mean, where are we going with that?
Gorilla Grodd is one of the ultimate Flash villains.
I don't know, but is this gonna be like the season finale, or are we just teasing this along for?
I don't know.
I mean,
This is a good question,
I
Chris.
thought the Reverse Flash was gonna be season finale.
This is a good question, and like Gorilla Grodd
This is the first thing we've heard about him. Maybe they've referenced him 2 other times in the premiere, and then maybe 1 other time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It also like the Doctor. Okay, so this is weird. Like this is not where I thought they were going because I kind of knew that they were gonna tease Gorilla Grodd or whatever this episode. But whenever they were talking about the guy that Ronnie Raymond fused with to become Firestorm,
Yeah.
they said that he was like into transmutation and like taking one thing and combining it with another thing.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking that maybe his consciousness was put into Grodd or like something like that, or like maybe he was there to experiment with Grodd.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't know even why Grodd was there.
Right.
Because Harrison hasn't brought it up where it's and we had this giant gorilla
Right.
in our office here. Like, it's like what is that doing?
Right.
Oh, that's just Grodd. He's in the corner.
Right.
He's our pet. But yeah, no, I'm super excited. It's something that I will say,
Mhm.
and I wonder about, on the 100. So if you watch the other CW show, The 100, and if you're not, and you're into sci-fi, you should be watching it, because it's a really, really good show. There was a gorilla that showed up on one of the episodes, and I was wondering if maybe they shared assets, and that's how maybe they paid for such a really cool-looking
That's possible.
gorilla. So it's like, I'm going to be interested to see whenever Gorilla Grodd comes into daylight, and you can actually see him not in the shadows, and
Right.
it's not this huge, horrifying tease. If it's going to be kind of the same model or the same CG model, which would be an amazing way to handle it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So yeah, just want to throw that out there.
I mean, but then again, we have had some pretty good special effects on this show.
Yeah.
Specifically.
It's got and the 100 also does. And so like it's nice. They have big budgets, so maybe they both just happens to be pulling a gorilla at the same time.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's cool. This episode, I really liked how they kind of contrasted Caitlin's desire to not look for Ronnie and Cisco's desire to, and they're for completely different reasons.
Yep.
Granted, they're selfish reasons. She doesn't want to look for him because she wants to get over him.
Well, not even that. It's it seems to me that like
She
she's
said
been
several times she wants to move on.
Yeah, but it's like that was put on her by Cisco. It was one of those things like this has been how long now? It's like he was in a coma for 6 months, and now it's been another 6 or 7 months, so it's been over a year.
It wasn't really, because we dealt with this a few episodes ago. I don't remember how many and which one it was, but she kind of came to that conclusion on her own, that she wanted to move on.
Right, and then now he's calling her out on that, where he's like, "Hey, you're not actually moving on. In order to move on, you actually have to move on."
Well,
and that was a
because
nice
his desire is to find him because he still feels guilty.
thing. Right.
And so, like, I think in in his mind, if he can find Ronnie and help him, that makes up for what he did shutting him inside the reactor.
Right.
She doesn't want to find him because,
well, he told her not to.
Right, he told her not to. She doesn't want. She wants to move on. Neither one of them want to just do it to help Ronnie.
Right.
You know?
Right, and that's another reason why Ronnie is like, I don't really care about it, because it doesn't seem like anybody else does.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anybody else really cares. Like, it's all like selfish motives.
Yeah, and it's super weird, like to have this weird character who's out there and stalking the city or whatever, and I don't know, it's strange to me, like the way they're handling that, and the fact that everyone's so desperately, like, it's such a big issue. But it seems like it's also not a big issue. Because it's like, he's not had any interaction with Barry, really. Yeah. And Barry hasn't run around the city to look for him.
Right.
And I feel like that, just give him like a Geiger counter and have him run around the city.
I know, I mean, well, like once they hear about one of these, what are we calling them?
Metahumans.
Once we find out about a metahuman, they usually find them pretty quickly. Barry can figure it out, or they can tell him how to figure out where they are.
Yeah.
And why isn't the same true for Ronnie?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. And so, yeah, that is initially...
Look at like a heat map.
Yeah, at its core, that's my issue with his storyline, is that, I mean, obviously he's not dangerous, and he's, he actually saved them.
Yeah.
And he's been saving people. Like, that's another one of the news stories where it was this fireman, and so he's been saving people. But, I don't know, it seems like you either want to get him on the team or like, check him out,
Yeah.
Give him a physical, whatever.
You think Harrison would be wildly interested in him?
Yeah, and
since he was an employee.
It's intriguing that he's not. I wonder if it plays into his greater scheme somehow.
That's possible.
Yeah. What did you think about Harrison this episode? There wasn't much with him. No, nothing at all.
No, I mean, there was no movement on that front. And honestly, like, after last week, was it last week that was the Harrison episode?
Yes.
Like, I don't really, I mean, I like movement on that front every single episode.
Yeah.
But I don't like the Harrison-centric episode like we had last week. I would rather it be incorporated, like...
More smoothly incorporated with his storyline.
Correct.
Yeah, where it's not just focused on one thing.
That and it's not just a reveal at the end of every episode.
And I think that's where this show like is very much different than Arrow, where like Arrow we see like this incremental. They have a lot of things in the going, and so like you may not see a plot line for an episode, but you see incremental process. Like you see the progress happen.
Yeah.
And on this show, it more happens in big bursts where like you get an episode that's entirely focused on this thing.
Right.
And then the next episode, you don't touch that one thing at all, but you go to something completely different. And so it's just different ways of doing it. And I almost prefer the other way better.
Right.
I did love at the beginning of this episode, we had Barry saving the person from the car.
Oh, that was amazing.
And he vibrates his hands really fast in order to pop the door open.
Yeah.
And we saw both on this and on Arrow, the police being fully okay with both vigilantes, like both heroes in both cities, like they're standing side by side with them, going, we're here.
Yeah, I loved that opening scene. I loved even whenever the car exploded and all of a sudden Barry's behind them with the person. That was really cool, and I get chills whenever that happens. Like especially with the music and just the whole. He says thank you, Flash, and it was just super awesome, man.
Oh yeah, dude, and it really is nice to see Barry be a hero that everybody likes.
And that's the kind of stuff I like. Like I said, like something that Arrow's been doing well. Is their villain has been like a very street level kind of like grounded villain. He's just basically a mafia thug, mafia boss, and it's cool to see him go up against like this is just somebody that could exist in our world, probably exists in Gotham City. It's really cool to see, Flash deal with just regular things like, a car accident.
Yeah.
And go up against, just thieves and stuff like that whenever they show that.
And to prioritize it as well. I mean, it's he's prioritizing these other things because he's fast enough to deal with it. He's fast enough to do it. So he's helping in any way he possibly can. Right. Something I did want to mention was the bullet. Whenever he gets shot and he takes the bullet out and throws it on the ground or whatever.
Right.
And so, like, that is the argument for keeping him in the field, because he had to move really fast there in order to get that. He had to probably move faster because he was, like, worn out afterwards.
Right.
And so he had to move faster than he's done in the past. And so that's another good reason why Harrison should just keep him in the field, and he'll be breaking through those barriers and figuring out how fast he can really go in real life. So, yeah. Let me see. Was there anything
quotes?
else? I do have quotes. Do we want laces on, laces off?
Are we going to do how many laces?
Yeah, we can do how many
boots?
How many boots? Yeah, how many boots do we put on?
I'm going to call this 2.5 boots.
I'm going to call this a solid 3-booter.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it gets that extra because of the human element between him and Caitlyn.
That's good. Yep. 3 boots.
It's just like you forget about that whenever you think about all the other stuff that happened.
Yeah.
But it's like the Caitlyn and Barry relationship scene is so good.
Yeah.
And so rich with like just good moments.
Yeah, that's true.
You gotta give it a nod here and there. All right, I do have some quotes. By the way, karaoke. Remember whenever they karaoke'd and because he's from Glee, he can sing and
that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm excited for whenever they bring in Supergirl and she can sing, and they can be the singing heroes. Like she can fly around and sing, and he can harmonize on the ground.
Yeah.
That's just a dream, just the Glee dream right there. All right, so quotes. We've got Barry, who says, "When can I start calling it my suit?" And Cisco says, "I'd be comfortable calling it our suit." And then we have Cisco, who says, "I know you said we should stop looking for Ronnie, so I didn't stop looking for Ronnie." And then later in the show, we have Caitlyn, who says, "This is a bullet wound. You're lucky it only broke the skin." And Barry says, "Guess I'm a lot faster than a speeding bullet."
Oh.
So that was nice.
Yes.
Nice little Superman burn.
Yep.
And then we have Caitlyn, who says, "At least you're not pining for someone who bursts into flames and doesn't want anything to do with you."
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Let me see. And then whenever we have drunk Caitlyn, who says, "Barry Allen, come on down. Look at him go. He's so fast." That was great. Let me see. And then the next day, whenever Cisco finally comes out and says, "Hey, I let Hartley out," Caitlyn says, or he says, "Are you mad? I can't tell behind your glasses." And then Caitlyn says, I really want to yell and wave my arms, but I'm afraid I would throw up." That was nice. Let me see. And then we have Cisco, who says, "No one dangerous is ever going to get out of here again." They're totally going to get out of here.
Yes.
That's
foreshadowing.
absolutely happening. You think it's going to happen on the finale?
No, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea where they're going with this.
Yeah, me neither. Let me see. 2 more. And we have Caitlyn, who says, "If what Cisco says is true, that means that Ronnie doesn't exist anymore and it's time to move on."
Mm-hmm.
That would suck, dude.
Yeah,
your consciousness gets combined with somebody else's. That's so weird.
It'd be weird. I don't know how that
super
works.
strange. I don't know how that works at all. We're gonna have to find out how that works.
Can you talk to each other in the same mind?
Oh man, be super strange.
Your thoughts?
Like if I don't know. Like if he flashes and it's like, "Oh,"
or do you go back and forth? And you don't remember. You don't know what the other side's doing.
He'll probably switch. He'll probably go back and forth.
I don't like that.
Like, because maybe that's why he yelled at her like that one time.
That's possible.
But he was also like stalking her for a while there.
That's possible.
Super weird, man.
Yeah.
All right, then the last quote we have from Barry's dad. He says, "Well, if the Flash was my son, I'd tell him a few things. First off, I'd tell him that it's a dangerous game and he should be careful. Then I would tell him that he's a hero and he's saving a lot of people. But most important thing the most important thing would be that I'm proud of him." That was just a great,
or
great
my father, or his father.
Yeah, his father's proud of him. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, dude, awesome. Awesome ends to the episode.
Yeah, yeah, like very touching. And like there were elements, like you said, that were. I forget about the cool elements.
Yep.
But yeah, like there were some really great elements in there.
Oh yeah. And it's always the human stuff. It's always those relationships.
Right.
Keep more of those relationships.
That's it for this week. You can check out Arrow on Target, as well as our main target. Our main podcast. Stay on Target. You can find them both at stayontargetpodcast.com. You can find us on Twitter at ChrisWright250
and John Wright 777
and at Stay on Target Pod. That's it for this week. We'll see you next time on
Flash on Target!